Is it possible for you to make $1 million between now and the next 12 months, even if you have no business experience, no clue on how to do that, and if you've never made that kind of money in your entire life? Well, I'm here to share with you exactly how to do that step by step. My name is Monica Main, and I'm a serial entrepreneur and successful real estate investor, and I'm here to share with you exactly what you need to do to go from zero to $1 million in the next 12 months. So here we go. All right, so you're probably wondering, Monica, how is this even remotely possible? I'm not a business person. I'm not an entrepreneur. I've maybe dabbled in a few things here and there. I've tried to get some businesses off the ground, never really panned out for me. How am I going to go from zero to $1 million in the next 12 months? I'm going to share with you exactly how to do that. Powerful stuff that I'm about to reveal to you. I strongly urge you to get yourself a pad of paper and a pen because you might want to take a few notes. You might want to rewatch this video because I'm going to share with you the exact breakdown on how to build what I call your multimillionaire empire from scratch. So it's all going to start with the structure of your business. Now, mind you, the reason I want to bring this to your attention is because most people will not discuss what you need to do before you start your business. They don't talk about the legal structure of your business. They don't even share with you exactly what a legal structure is. I had to find all of these things out on my own through my many trials and tribulations as an entrepreneur. And many of these trials and tribulations in my early entrepreneur life actually landed me in a lot of legal trouble because I simply did not know what I was doing. Let's be honest, they don't share these kinds of things in school. Even when you go to business school and a college, they don't even share with you exactly what you need to know to start and lay the proper groundwork for a successful business. So I'm here to share with you and fill in all those blanks so that you don't make any mistakes like I did, okay? So the very first thing that you're going to want to do is have a legal business structure. I strongly urge you to create the structure in your own state. So for example, if you live in the state of Florida, you're going to want to have a corporation in the state of Florida. If you live in Michigan, you're going to want to have a corporation in the state of Michigan. If you live in Utah, you're going to want to have a corporation in Utah. You get my drift, I hope. And so you're going to want to get what we call an S corporation. Now you're probably wondering, well, Monica, why wouldn't I start an LLC? You can start an LLC, but LLCs are usually designated for those that actually have a physical business partner or another legal entity to have as a partner. So for example, you could actually have a C corporation that is your legal business partner on an LLC, and then you can be the other partner on your LLC. I don't generally recommend that you get an LLC unless it's for real estate investing purposes, and of course, unless you actually have a physical business partner, and not just your spouse. It needs to be an actual business partner that's going to have a 50-50 relationship with you in the business. If it's just you trying to add some random person like your spouse on there just to be able to have an LLC, don't do that. You know, you never know whether or not you want your spouse to be in the business if that person's not going to be carrying out any business-like responsibilities. So it's just best to have your own corporation on your own. And so if you don't have an actual physical business partner, then you should get a regular for-profit corporation. I do recommend a service. I've had them form so many different corporations for me over the last 2+ decades, believe it or not. It's AmeriLawyer.com. I have their information in the description box below. And no, I don't get paid by them. I just basically give their information out because I think that they're absolutely spectacular in forming corporations, and they can form a corporation for you in as little as a couple days, depending on the state that you're located in. And you're going to want to get what we call a for-profit corporation. Now, it doesn't start off as an S corporation. All corporations are born a C corporation, born by way of them being an actual entity in and of themselves. They're born a C corporation. You have to change them to an S corporation later on. And you're probably wondering, well, Monica, why would I want an S corporation? Because C corporations are for very large conglomerate corporations like GM, 3M, very large, multi-million, billion-dollar corporations. And so if you're a mom and pop operator like I am, you're not going to want to go with the C corporation double taxation standard, which means that you're going to be taxed at the level of the corporation for all the profits that the corporation makes. And then you're taxed again at your personal level when you get your K-1, which is essentially your 1099 from your corporation on how much you made. You don't want to be taxed twice. Nobody does. Like we pay enough money to the government as is. Why would we want to pay twice? Nobody does. So instead of doing it that way, become an S corporation instead so that you're only taxed once. So that's one of the main reasons why most mom and pop operators like you and me will become an S corporation. So the company that I referred you to, they can help you set up an S corporation, but I wouldn't really pay the extra money to have them do it. I'm going to explain to you very quickly how you can do it yourself. But the very first thing that you're going to need to be able to become a real entity is not only have the corporation formation documents done, but you're also going to have what we call an EIN, which is also an employer identification number, which is essentially the social security number for your corporation. You definitely need this. So when you go to amerilawyer.com, have them form a for-profit corporation for you, and then have them form an EIN for you through the irs.gov website, because half the time the irs.gov website does not work properly. So I would say save the extra $35 to $50 or whatever they're going to charge you for the EIN and do it yourself after you get your corporate docs. However, I don't recommend that to anybody anymore, because half the time the irs.gov website does not work properly when it comes to kicking out a new EIN number for a new entity. So I just have them do it for me. And then that way, when I get my corporate docs in the mail, it's a book that you get. It's like a 3-ring binder that you'll get in the mail. When you get that, you'll have not only all your corporate resolution paperwork, but you'll also have your EIN, which is essentially, again, your social security number for your company. And you'll be able to use that to start credit. You'll be able to use that to open up a business bank account. So you'll have to take that corporate book with you to the bank when you open up your business bank account. And so now let's talk about the S corporation designation. So after you get that corporate book with your EIN, then you can go on the irs.gov website, type in form 2553, again, form 2553 in the irs.gov website search bar, and then you can get to the form that will change it from a C corporation to an S corporation. And then you're literally going to have to fill in the PDF, print it out, and either fax it in or mail it in. Yes, I know they're old fashioned. You know, the IRS, they don't ever come up to speed with the rest of technology in the rest of the world. So you're going to have to like literally print it out, sign it, and then send it off or fax it off. Like nobody has a fax number, so just mail it off. And it takes 6 to 8 weeks for that to come. When it comes in the mail, be sure to put the paperwork in your corporate book to prove that you are an S corporation. I had one time that this happened where the US government sent me the S corporation docs. I put it in my doc book. And then later on, when I file my 1120S form, which is due every March 15th, which is exactly 1 month before your personal taxes are due, your corporate taxes would be due. So I sent it in, my 1120S form for my corporate filing, and they told me I was not an S corporation. They said, sorry, but according to our records, you are still a C corporation. So therefore, you need to file an 1120 and not an 1120S. And I'm like, no, I am an S corporation, and here's the document that you guys sent to me. And they're like, oh, okay. So then they were able to give me my S corporation designation. So you save everything, and you save it all in your corporate doc book. So again, you want to save everything in all your little paperwork all together. So then that way, in the event that they do lose all the paperwork in their system, at least you know you have proof that you're an S corporation. And by the way, you're probably wondering, okay, Monica, well, I still want an LLC. And like, why can't I still have an LLC? Be a single member LLC. Well, here's why. Because one time I actually had a single member LLC. I've had several single member LLCs over the years, but this one time with this one particular California single member LLC that I had the federal government send me a nice little letter in the mail, nice little form letter, after I filed my single member LLC tax return. And they said, sorry, but this is not considered a legal entity because you didn't form it correctly. You have to have two people, two entities, two, beings or entities on this to be actually considered a legal LLC. And so they said you have one of two options. One, add an entity and make it a real legal structure, or B, you're going to have to change it into a corporation. And so that's the only time that's ever happened. It happened in 2011. I'll never forget it, and I will also never file a single member LLC ever again. So if you have a law firm or you look on some online blog and they're like, oh yeah, you could file a single member LLC. Yes, you can. In any given state, you can. But according to the federal government, you have to have two entities on there to actually be a legal LLC. Okay, so if you want to get a nice little letter from the IRS, that's fine. You can go ahead and go for it. File your single member LLC. I've had others that they were never touched. They were never harassed. But, I've made sure that every single LLC has two entities, not one anymore. So again, on the state level, your company that's filing for your corporate resolution paperwork, they're going to tell you all day long you can file a single member LLC because it's legal in the state to do that. But at the federal level, the IRS likes to see two entities in a legally formed LLC, if that makes sense. So one of the reasons why I like to use it for real estate investing in particular is that with real estate investing, you use your S corporation, the one I just told you to form, as one entity, and you yourself as the other entity, and that's two entities for your real estate LLCs. Does that make sense? So then that way, you now are appeasing the IRS at the federal level by basically having those two entities. And that's how I form all of my LLCs for the purposes of investing in real estate. All right, but that's going to be a different topic a little later on. So you're probably wondering, okay, Monica, this is all great. I have my legal structure. And by the way, when you actually go for the process of filing your first corporation, your corporate entity, make sure it's some generic name. Don't make it really specific for any particular type of product line. You probably at this stage in the game probably have no idea what you're going to be selling, if you're going to be selling anything at all, or if you're going to be investing in real estate or have an online business or whatever you're thinking right now. So make it as bland and mediocre and unidentified as possible. So for example, you might want to use your initials. So my initials are MSM. Monica Susan Main is my name, so MSM. So I might use MSM Enterprises Inc. or maybe MM United Inc. or something like that. And so you have those types of options to make it as generic as possible. So then that way it allows you to literally have the sky as being the limit in what you can do with this corporation. Or you might start a business online and it doesn't even work out at all. And then now you can use that same corporate entity to start a different, completely unrelated business, and you can use the same entity to do that because you didn't fulfill your promise to yourself or to whatever entrepreneurial pursuit you had with the first go around. And that's fine. Entrepreneurs, all of us have tested, tried different things. A lot of things don't work. But the idea is for you to stay in the game as long as you possibly can until something does work. So again, you're not going to know what's going to work. So just be as generic as possible with your corporation name. All right, so if you have a personal FICO score of, say, for example, 680 and above is mediocre at the very bottom basement level. However, if you want to start getting what we call business or corporate credit, you should probably have a mid personal FICO score of 720 or above. If you do have a 720 or above, especially a 750 or above, then go ahead and start getting business credit cards. Now, I have my banker's information down in the description box below. You can contact her directly. Not only can she open up a business checking account with your new corporation for you, no matter which of the 50 states you're in, but she can also get you your first unsecured business credit card with a 0% APR from 7 to 9 months. It'll be anywhere from, roughly, it depends on how good your credit is, but it'll be anywhere from about 10,000 in unsecured credit to upwards of 50,000. So you get anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000 in this unsecured business credit card that you'll be able to get for you. So that'll be your first credit card. And then at the same time, once you open up your business checking account and you also apply for your Bank of America unsecured business credit card with that bank account. By the way, you can attach that credit card as overdraft protection in case you ever go overdraft in that account. That credit card will pick up the balance. You make sure that you ask my banker to do that for you. She'll do that for you. But you should also get some other business credit cards at the same time. I recommend that you get the Costco Visa. So it's Costco Citibank Visa. Walk into a Costco, go to the customer service area of the Costco store, and actually apply for the business credit card. You can do that in person as long as you have your business credentials with you, your EIN number, etc. I recommend you do it in person because people have a higher success rate of getting approved when they're standing there in person versus trying to do it online. But this, of course, only applies if you have a Costco membership. Other business credit cards I highly recommend. I love American Express. And so if you like to fly Delta, get yourself a business Delta American Express. If you like Hilton, get yourself a Hilton American Express for business. So there's a lot of different options for different American Express business credit cards. You can go ahead and online and check them out. Just kind of avoid the gold card because the gold card requires you to pay off the balance every single month. And while in the beginning that might not be a big deal, you want to be able to have the flexibility of being able to pay payments if you need to, right? Like what if one month you run up your credit card bill $10,000 for business expenses, and then you're like, oh shoot, I can't pay it off. Well, that's why we want to have a different American Express that allows us to make installments or payments rather than having to come up with a whole chunk of change. And then other ones that I like, I do like U.S. Bank. The U.S. Bank also has a really phenomenal business credit card. And I also recommend Chase Inc. as well. You can get upwards of about $50,000 in unsecured credit if you do have a mid-FICO of 750 or above easily with Chase Inc. So that's probably one of my favorite credit cards. Credit cards you should not get for business would be Discover Business credit card. They report that on your personal credit, as well as Capital One Sparks business credit card. Don't get that one either, because that also reports on your personal credit. The whole idea of having business credit is so that it's not reported on your personal credit and it's not sinking your personal FICO score. So that's why we want to make sure that we're using cards, business credit cards, that don't report on our personal credit. And unfortunately, Discover Business and Capital One Sparks for Business reports on your personal credit. So we don't want either one of those. All right, so now that we've done all of that, we now have a really nice base and foundation for starting your business. So you're probably wondering, well, Monica, how do I make this $1 million in the next 12 months? Like, what do I do? Well, let's talk about your options, because you have only, the way I see it, only a couple of options that could really do well for you financially. And I've been in the world of entrepreneurship since the mid-90s, 1995, if you can believe that. And I was one of those business opportunity junkies where every single time there would be a business opportunity magazine, I'd be going through the whole magazine and ordering all these free reports and all this stuff. And I've been around long enough to know like everything under the sun that people were advertising at that time. And I can tell you the stuff that works and the stuff that doesn't, because I've pretty much done it, everything, okay? So you're probably wondering, okay, what are my options? Well, there's a couple of different options for you, and you have to think in terms of which one of these two umbrellas interests you the most. So let's talk about umbrella number one. So umbrella number one would be the online marketing category. And I've done well with this over the years. In fact, I was probably one of the forerunner pioneers when it came to online marketing. I started my first website in the late 90s. That was through HTML, and I had to use Microsoft Front Page software. It was like a box software you could use to do like a FTP upload of your website. That was how you actually did website publishing back in the day. And so nowadays, it's way easier than that. And so if you're thinking about an online marketing funnel, I would caution you to think about what you want to sell, because the only things that really make a lot of money online are your online courses that you can have in a membership site, like for example school.com or kajabi.com, to have some kind of high in demand online course that you could sell for several hundred, if not a couple $1,000s. So you want to have some kind of online course that's valuable to people. No, there's only going to be three categories that are really valuable to people. Anything that has to do with relationships, like how to find the spouse of their dreams, or how to repair a marriage or something like that. Anything that has to do with health and fitness, weight loss, those kinds of things. And then anything, of course, to do with making money. In fact, the last category is probably going to make you the most money, is if you could talk about anything that has to do with making money, whether it's making money in stocks, making money in real estate, making money in online marketing, right? So that's going to be the one that you can make the most money with. So the most unethical way to do this would be obviously to copy somebody else and what they're doing, and obviously selling some kind of rip-off type of online course that's piggybacked off somebody else. That's completely unethical. I don't recommend you do that. However, if you do have some kind of experience, like for example, I was able to help my dad. So years ago, he sold restaurant equipment on consignment. He did really well. He made millions of dollars in this business, and all he did was go to closed down restaurants, mom and pop restaurants. He would sell their restaurant equipment on consignment, and then he would turn around and make a profit or a percentage of each sale. So for example, if some local yokel bar went out of business, he would immediately contact the owner. He would sell all the equipment in the bar, and then they would split the profits of the sale of the bar equipment, or the sale of the restaurant equipment. So he made a fortune doing that, but he even made more money teaching people how to do this business. Now, he did this way back in the early 2000s, and he doesn't sell the course anymore. But this is just case in point that maybe you think that you don't have anything of value to sell somebody, but you probably do. Or maybe you worked on a used car lot and you know how to sell, to people. So you can actually develop a course about sales and marketing to people in the car sales business. So rack your brain and start thinking about what you have along the lines of ideally some kind of financial benefit course that you could develop for people that you can turn around and sell for several hundred, if not a couple $1,000s. So that is one way to make a lot of money online, is if you have something unique, like the bar restaurant equipment selling business would be unique. Opening up and teaching somebody how to flip cars, buy and sell used cars, that would be unique. What's not unique is being the next guru online teaching other people how to make money online. That's not unique. So you want to be kind of unique and different, and then that way you'll be the new lever, the new financial lever that people would be attracted to because it's something that's new and different. Okay, so if you have something like that, start thinking about that. Otherwise, do you have some kind of secret on weight loss? Do you have some kind of secret on how to find the partner of someone's dreams? So start thinking about what kind of knowledge you would have, and really sit down and maybe make a list in those three categories of maybe something that you can offer, and go from there. Now, there's another category I did not mention that is also popular, but it's very, I guess, nuanced, and it's very, you'd have to know a lot about it. You have to literally be an expert. So if you know anything about golf, and if you know anything about, people doing really well in the game of golf, then that in and of itself is a very powerful and high level kind of business opportunity, because you could literally have all kinds of pro golf courses, ideally video series courses. You could sell obscene amounts of those if you're an expert in golf, because there are so many people in the golf world that have huge expendable incomes that are willing to pay any kind of money to just to shave off. I don't even know. I'm not even a golfer, so I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. But basically do better in the game of golf. It's just an insatiable appetite market. So that's just a little clue in. If you happen to be one of those people that knows something about golf, you can make a ton of money selling golf online video courses. Trust me on this. And then going even a little bit further, becoming, I guess you could say, an affiliate for a company that sells golfing equipment or golf balls or something, and just marketing their products and then getting a chunk of change for each sale of every golf club, or each sale of every golf ball, or each sale of every golf shirt that they sell. You can make a lot of money when it comes to golf. There's just tons and tons of money. So that's just a little word of advice to you if you do know a lot about golf. There's a lot of money in that. All right, so we talked about making money online, and I guess one last thing I want to leave with you on the online marketing thing is the fastest and easiest way. You want to know? Let's lean in for this, because this is really important. So having been in the business of online marketing for as long as I have, there's a cheat on how you can kind of get around having to go through this very steep learning curve of having to learn online marketing, and not only learning like what sells, but how to put together your website. And there's one way of doing it. Come on, let's get a little closer here. Ready? Basically hack somebody else's highly successful funnel. Now you're probably wondering, well, Monica, what does hack mean? Hack means basically hack, just like hack it. Like you see somebody's ad on Facebook, for example, it keeps coming up over and over and over again for a specific kind of product. It's obviously successful, right? And so you can actually go to the Facebook ad library. Go to google.com, type in Facebook ad library, and look at that person's many ads that he or she has done in whatever they're selling, and you'll see how long they've been selling on Facebook. And if you notice that they've been on Facebook for a while, it means they're successful. Nobody's able to spend tens of thousands of dollars a month in Facebook ads if it's not working, right? So what you do is you click on their actual ad. You take a look. First of all, what does their ad look like? What is the copywriting that they're doing in the ad? Like, what are they saying in the ad? What's the picture look like in the ad? And then click on the ad, and then look at their website. What does their website look like? What does page 2 look like? What does page 3 look like? And actually buy the product that they're selling, and essentially copy each page as you go through their funnel. That's what we call funnel hacking. And I wish I would have known that secret like years ago when I was starting off with online marketing. Like, I would have saved myself like so much time, like years and years, if not more than a decade of time, just spinning my wheels trying to figure out how to create the ultimate offer, how to create the ultimate product, how to create the ultimate, website or funnel. I would have learned so quickly if I would have just simply paid some money, looked at his page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, just went through the whole funnel, looked at the videos, and basically emulated what he was doing or what she was doing. And that would have saved so much time. Now, of course, we don't want to copy everything word for word. That's considered unethical. It's actually illegal. You'd be violating copyright law, but you can get pretty darn close to what they're saying and change some words and make it in your own voice, and you can actually create your own successful product that's off the back of somebody else. That's the biggest cheat that I have for you. All right, so that's for the online marketing component. Now let's talk about the other opportunity that you could potentially make in $1 million in 1 year. This is my favorite. Real estate investing. Now you're probably thinking, Monica, real estate investing, you need a lot of money down. Like, I can't qualify for a loan. I don't know if I want to do that. Like, do I really have to think about it? Well, before you turn this video off, please hear me out just for 1 minute, because I'm going to share with you something that I learned a couple of years ago, and something that's really been a big game changer when it comes to real estate investing. And even better, you don't even have to come up with very little money, and the money that you come up with can be borrowed money. I'm going to share with you exactly how that works. And even better, you can take over these properties without your own credit at all. So you can literally have a 400 FICO score and still be able to do this business, right? So here's the deal. A lot of things have been shifting in the economy, and you can no longer just go out there and, say, for example, buy an apartment building and rent out the units and actually make a healthy monthly cash flow. You can't unless you're getting a large enough apartment building, like a 36 plus unit apartment building. It's just, if you're trying to get a 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 unit apartment building and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to put all this big chunk of change, which by the way will be 20% down on a property that maybe like $2 or $3 million. That's a lot of money to put down just to be able to get a cash flow of, say, $1,200 a month or something like that. It's just not worth it, right? So for you to actually make some traction in cash flowing real estate, you're going to be looking at 24, 36 units, 50 units plus. And then by the time you add up what you have to put in at 20% down on a multi-million dollar piece of real estate like that, that's a lot of money. You're talking hundreds of thousands, if not $1 million down, right? Come on. Most people can't do that, especially starting off in real estate. That's just a reality. You can't do that in most cases. So what can you do? Well, what you can't do is go out there and, say, buy a condo and rent it out, because you might make maybe $50 to $100 a month. Then, of course, the very moment something breaks or you have to have a plumber or electrician go out, you're basically in the hole for the rest of the year to try to make up for it with that little $100 a month that you're making. Because, say, for example, you're making $100 a month in cash flow and you're making $1,200 a year. All of a sudden, something breaks, a plumber comes out, he charges you $1,200. Okay, now you're out the cash flow for the rest of the year. So what happens if something else breaks 6 months later? It's just really a downward spiral. You don't want to be in that business. Plus, what happens if he or she loses their job? They can't make the payments anymore. Then you have to now come out of pocket for your mortgage, insurance, and your taxes. Plus, you have to pay a lawyer to get them out. And then they might be in there for 3-4 months by the time you evict them out. That's a sucky way to do business. What if I told you that not only can you get involved in real estate investing with none of your own cash, no credit, and you could be making on average about $4,000 to $5,000 in net profits per house that you own per month? Like, what would you think of that? And you'd be like, Monica, give me the nitty gritty, right? Because I can tell you, before I heard about this opportunity, I thought it was too good to be true. And now that I've been doing this opportunity, I'm just like, I can't believe I didn't know about this earlier. I wish I would have known about it 10 years ago, but I didn't. So here's how it works. It's called Local Section 8, Transitional Community Sober Living Housing. And as long as you're doing it at what we call Level 1 or Level 2, you do not have to have a license or any kind of certification. Level 1 and Level 2 means that you don't have any medical staff on site, means that you don't perform any groups or psychiatrist activities or anything like that. It's just basically they go there, they sleep there, and then they go to work, right? So what is transitional community housing? It's basically shared housing. You can have up to 2 people per bedroom, up to 3 people in a large master bedroom. And so for a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house, you're looking at 8 people, up to 9 people for a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house. So essentially what happens is, say, for example, somebody gets involved in a DUI, and maybe it's their second DUI, and the county requires them to go to an alcohol rehabilitation county mandated program. So maybe they're in the program for 28 days. And then after the 28 days, because they burned all their bridges with their friends and family, because they're a liar and an alcoholic and they, stole from their family, whatever, nobody wants to have anything to do with them. So what does the county do once they're done with their 28-day program and these people have no place to go? Well, the answer is what we call local Section 8 or transitional community sober living housing. And so the local government at the county level will pay between $800 and $1,200 per person per month who goes into your shared home. And what's cool about having government money is that it's guaranteed. It comes in every single month, like clockwork. And so no matter what's happening in the economy, like literally the sky can fall down on the economy and you still are making money because it's government funded. It comes from the federal level, then it trickles down to the state, and then the state divvies it out to the different counties, the ones that have the most need as far as drug and alcohol post-rehabilitation housing. And so that's where you come in. So you buy a house, a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house. You basically have it set up for transitional community housing, meaning you have 2 beds per room, up to 3 in a very large master bedroom. And then you have a caseworker come out. They will do a once over on the house, make sure everything is, hunky-dory. And then what they'll do is they'll have a contract. You'll have then a government contract. They'll start sending clients to your house, right? So it's pretty powerful because I just love the fact that you have the government guaranteed income coming in. You don't have to worry about how to find people. The government keeps sending people to you. So when one person leaves, there's somebody that replaces them. Typically, they will stay anywhere from 6 to 12 months until they're able to find their own permanent housing on their own. So it's a really amazing setup. It's highly profitable, but at the same time, you are helping people in need, people who need a place to stay, people who are trying to turn a new leaf on life, and you'll literally be making a difference in a way that you've never imagined in your entire life. It's like a true legacy business. So that's the recommended route I recommend that you take if you're interested in real estate investing. Now, here's the important part about this, though. You're probably wondering, okay, Monica, well, I don't have any money. I certainly don't have, 20% down on a $500,000 house. Like, how's this supposed to work? Because I don't have $100,000. Well, the cool thing about this is that I could show you how to use our resources to be able to get the cash you need to be able to get into these properties, but even better, to learn something called subject to, which you can essentially use this strategy to take over somebody else's mortgage. So I have a lot of people that usually will put in the comments, they'll be like, oh, who was going to want you to take over their mortgage? Think about this. Let's pretend it's you and not someone else. Say, for example, you're in a market soft economy, like in a lot of places like Florida, for example, where you're in a city where houses are not selling. You've had your house up for sale for 6 months. You can't afford it anymore because all of the rest of your costs have gone up. Your prescription medications costs have gone up. Your utilities have gone up, your food costs have gone, everything has gone up. And maybe you're not making as much as you used to, or maybe your salary has stayed the same and you just can't handle the massive cost of living anymore. And plus your insurance, has risen because, as we all know, Florida insurance for houses is really high. And you're just like, I just want to get out of here. I would like to sell this house, but I can't because it's been sitting on the market for 6 months unsold, okay? And then all of a sudden you're like, I can't make this month's payment, or I'm having a hard time, or I'd rather pay my prescription medication this month rather than my mortgage. Now all of a sudden you're 2 months behind on your mortgage payment and you don't know what to do because your house has been sitting on the market and you can't sell it. And then all of a sudden somebody comes along with a win-win situation for you and says, listen, I will take over your mortgage. I will make payments on whatever open equity you have. So say, for example, they have a $500,000 house that's listed, and say, for example, they have $100,000 in equity. So basically what you could do is take over their mortgage for the $400,000, right? Then they're going to have another $100,000. You're probably wondering, well, how are they going to get paid? You do something called a private mortgage contract on the side where they get money on the side. And you can do that for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. You can do that at 0% interest, whatever you think is fair for them to get that equity out as you make payments. So that's how that deal works. So if you were this person who is, up a creek without a paddle, and you need to get out of that house and you're starting to sink and you're already behind in your payments, and somebody comes along, somebody like me, that says, hey, guess what? I have the deal, the offer you can't refuse. And here's the offer you can't refuse. I will Pay your mortgage payments to catch you up so that you're no longer in arrears and in pre-foreclosure anymore. I will make sure all your taxes are caught up, and I will pay you money to move. And I will make sure that you get your $500,000 asking price. I will take over your current $400,000 mortgage, and I will pay you the extra $100,000 in payments over X amount of time for X interest, right? What would you do in that situation? You'd be like, hell to the yeah, right? You would do it because you have no other choice. Because nobody wants to take a foreclosure on their credit report. That lasts 7 years. You can't get a new mortgage for 5. It also damages your credit in ways that you can't imagine because it even makes it hard for you to rent an apartment after you take a foreclosure. So nobody wants a foreclosure on their credit report. There's a lot of pre-foreclosure activity going on right now. There's certainly a ton of properties that have been sitting on the market for months and months unsold. And this is prime opportunity for you to be able to walk in and step in to essentially assume and take over those mortgages. Now, how do you protect yourself in the event that they decide, well, he paid off my mortgage, now it's my house? You do something called the warranty deed transfer, which means that the warranty deed will transfer to your company's name. So after the mortgage is paid off, you then own the property, they don't. Does that make sense? And so you don't give them the money to make the mortgage payments, you essentially take over their entire mortgage portal, which means that you type in their username, you type in their password, you change the password, you change the bank account in which the payments are being drawn off of. So then that way you're guaranteed that the payments are being made. And by the way, you probably now have a much lower interest rate than what you can get on a property sale today. So for example, they probably got an interest rate at 4 or 5% several years ago. You're now taking over that mortgage. So you don't want to refinance. You want to keep that mortgage forever until it's paid off. And so now you have a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house that you can set up and now start cash flowing on average about $4,500 a month. And that's net profits in your pocket using this government agency local Section 8 secret. So that's what I would share with you on how to do that. So you're probably thinking, okay, Monica, well, we're still not at $1 million in 12 months. Well, how many houses would you need to get to $1 million in 12 months? Well, you're talking gross versus net. Your gross on average, so say for example you have a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house, you could fit, say on average on the low side, 8 people, medium between $800 and $1,200 a month. That's $1,000 a month, so that's $8,000 gross a month. So if you have 10 houses, that's $80,000 a month gross. If you have 20 houses, do the math, $160,000 a month gross. And then at that $160,000 level per month gross, you're looking at, probably, let's see, we're pushing up toward 2 million actually at that point. It's going to be under 2 million. So if you get, your first 10 houses, you're looking at a pretty penny every single year gross. And then of course about 50% of that will be your net profits. And so you're looking at around $500,000 or $600,000 a year in net profits with 10, 12 houses on average. So you want to get as many houses as you possibly can. And you could do this with very little cash, none of it which needs to be yours, and no credit because you're doing what we call a subject to and essentially taking over their mortgage. So that's the business I would recommend that you go into. Now I have a quick training about that. If you want to go ahead and go down below into the description box, that's a free training. I share with you some details on exactly how this whole thing works, how subject to works, and how this is, in my humble opinion, the world's most perfect business. All right, so if you like this content, please give me a nice thumbs up. It helps me out a lot, as well as subscribe to my channel. This is Monica Maid signing off, and I will see you in the next video.